Welcome to this new how-to. In this how-to we're gonna look at skyvector.com, which is a website which can be used for flight planning and for collecting airport information. If you're planning to use skyvector.com for flight simulation, then don't use it to plan flights. The reason is it's officially not allowed according to their I would say disclaimer, and when you try to schedule a flight, we'll also give you a big disclaimer that you need to confirm that you're not going to use it for flight simulator. So that's also why I only focus on the airport piece. And the airport piece, let me zoom in a bit. Can be found on the top. So the airport piece is really useful, because the airport piece can be used to collect information such as the ATIS frequencies, ILS frequencies, but also the star routes and also the surroundings around the airport for VFR flights. So it's really cool. So you have two options. You can either search for the airport by providing a cow ID or search in certain regions, right? So for example, if I search for Seattle Airport, I will see a lot of information. The first thing I see is the location information of the airport. So hey, where is it? What's the elevation? When was it opened? Also all kinds of some historic information. And it contains also the airport communication. So it contains all the frequencies, both for the tower, but also for the ATIS, right? Which you use to hear, okay, hey, what's the weather? For emergency, a lot of stuff. And those frequencies, at least most of them, which I tried, are also working in Flight Simulator. So that's really cool, because if you're flying, for example, to Seattle, you can already listen into the ATIS frequency when you're, I would say, a little bit far away from the airport by switching your communication radio to this frequency, and then it will simply display you the ATIS information. So when zooming or when scrolling a little bit down, the other things which you will see is the nearby navigation aids, right? So all the beacons which are nearby the airport, and the information about the runways. So all the runway information, the coordinates, the runway. I think it's the grade of how in which grade you need to approach the runway, the length, of course, for which kind of lights it has, category 2 and 3 configuration. So a lot of information which is useful. Besides that, you've got these servers available, so which servers are available at the airport. Also not sometimes handy, right, if you need to refuel for some reason, for example, like it's for the bush trips. And there's some other information about the single engine aircrafts based on the airport, jet aircrafts based on field. So there's some nice information. Also some remarks throughout about bird flocks, about certain restrictions, so keep that in mind. Besides that, you have a lot of information on the bottom, and on the bottom you've got, I would say, the weather minimums, which describe about the weather, but also the standard terminal arrival charts. So for example open one of them, then we need to zoom in again. It will provide you the star route for a specific runway, right? So for Seattle International, so it provides you a specific star route which you can use during your approach, and there are more of them, as you can see. When scrolling down, there's also the instrument approach, so the ILS or localizer approaches. So if we would zoom on to that, you will get a lot of information. So you will get all the frequencies which you need, but also, okay, what's the angle of approach, what are the altitudes of approach, at which waypoint do you need to be at a certain altitude. So a lot of information being displayed on these slides. Scrolling down, you also have the departure procedures, right? So for departure procedures, you also sometimes want to fly a specific procedure Let's open Mountain 1, for example. It contains a specific procedure when you are departing from the airport. On the bottom, there's the nearby airports. In this case, are the nearby airports within the region with the distance and heading. Keep in mind that depending on the airport, not all this information is available. For example, if I search for Amsterdam Airport, so Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, this data is not available. Not sure what's the reason behind it, but I think it has to do with the status that it's this site is also containing official FAA data, as you can see. So on the left side, there's, I would say, almost the same data being displayed. There's a chart supplement, right? So if we open it and zoom in, you will see all the information which we just saw on the website. Also a small, I would say, map and remarks and some other stuff. And if you want to view the map of the airport itself, you can also do it, and you will find it on the left section with, again, all the frequencies, but also here the runways, the taxi routes, to the, I would say, to the ramps which you need to take, or to cargo if you want to fly in cargo plane, the ILS holds. So a lot of information, very useful. At least I've used it already a few times. So for flight planning or for VFRs, there's also a specific map which shows you a lot of information. So it contains a lot of information about the airport itself, but also the airspaces. Some cases there's also the let me zoom out a bit. The frequencies which you can use, other airports, and if you zoom into this, you can also see, although it's sometimes really hard to read, it's the ATIS and some radio frequencies, right? So this is also, I'd say, containing a lot of information, but it's only for VFR purposes in Flight Simulator. The other one is the IFR, and the IFR contains some other information. It contains some flight routes and information necessary to do your, I would say, your official flight planning around that. So that's all kind of cool, which you can really use for Flight Simulator purposes. So again, this information, you can use it. The flight plan option has been shown here. You can't use it in Flight Simulator. It's not allowed to do that. But so here ends this short tutorial. As we've seen, there is tons of information on this website which really can be useful for Flight Simulator. Keep in mind that you can only use the airport section. Don't use the flight plan option, I should say, because then you're violating the rules if you're only using it for Flight Simulator purposes. So I hope you like this video. If you like this video, then consider to use the like button. If you've got questions or comments, then put them below the video. And if you'd like to see more of these videos, or maybe you like the real Flight Simulator videos instead of the tools around it, then consider to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.